$2,000.
His oil's more expensive than that.
We wish. Okay, I'll fix that.
250,000 gallon
Gallon
tank.
tank. I thought that, but when I went back and listened to it, it sounded like 150, so I'm like, pick.
It might have been
I
said,
picked
but
what
it
it
is
sounded like, so,
250.
no, great, thank you.
Yeah, just like
Are they gonna issue me a gavel sooner or later?
Get you one for Christmas.
You already had one.
Okay. Okay, next, where did you go me to?
What?
2,
Back to the agenda?
yeah, go, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I am motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
okay, all in
With the
favor?
change of
Change.
250.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is review and approve bills paid since the last approval.
So we'll have to go down one and come back to that, I guess. We last met on December 1st, so there's almost 2 months of bills that have been paid in between. Most of the large ones have to do with the construction project. I don't know what to tell you about that, other than I did include in the minutes, in the report, the balances on the projects. If you want to go, did you get those?
Where's the one at?
Go down.
Here.
There. That's a summary of the large project, and you can see on the far right-hand side, there's a, what does that say at the bottom? Balance,
Bank balance?
Bank balance, or the amount left in contingency.
the bank balance is figured by the engineering company, which they have not included the interest that the account has earned. So we actually have over $2 million in the account now. But their figures are showing what they think is left to be, work to be done and paid out. And like I said, we have over $2 million in the account, so we should be in good shape if they don't have any large.
Question, how do they judge how much has been done and what the work has been completed?
I don't know.
We don't have any clue, do we?
No.
Okay.
It's just based on what the contractor submits.
Mhm.
I talked to Nate and Sunrise about it, and they were both gonna try to put together a figure, and I never heard back, and I forgot to check back up.
Let's check on it again, we need that,
Yeah.
we gotta have that.
So these figures,
Is that what they say?
they're just kind of estimates.
Sure. Don't you think we need more detail? I'd like to have it.
Well, yeah, closer approximation than,
Yeah, and so when we get to the end, they don't all of a sudden say, oh, there's no more money.
yeah.
Probably don't want them to know that.
Does this look like 80% completion?
How much?
Well, that's just on the big project, there's still that other project, there's another one of these right there for that other project.
Okay, yeah.
The
We're
biggest,
not 80% complete on it.
well, just a second, the biggest project with the tank and the lines and all that sort of thing is.
I was gonna say, it depends on how you look at
further
it,
ahead.
because they didn't do a whole lot of things, but the things they did were the big
Majors.
ticket items.
Yes.
So it might be 80% of the money and 50% of the work, and that's kind of where Sunrise and Tusher was having a hard time also, and that's why they were gonna put together some numbers.
Well, we'll have a hard time too, because we're not gonna make a difference.
Well, between now and when they start working again, they could certainly come up with a closer estimate,
Yeah.
I would think.
I'll
Just
get with,
based on what they've done.
Devin instead of.
Beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So down below there, down
Nate.
below this one is the larger, the smaller project. And, it shows 780,000,
Mhm.
and, we have about that, 790 in the bank.
Well, I like that minus 19 in the contingency line.
They paid. They paid the first portion, didn't they, David, that's in the?
Well, that's left in contingency.
Yeah,
That
what's
would not
left,
be
that's the
paid.
balance of the bottom, right?
Yes.
Okay. So at that point, we're right on line, but not, it's probably been a little easier to keep track of that project too.
I would imagine.
I'm sure it is, huh? Okay.
One thing that we got billed for that wasn't in the original budget was $28,000 to Gilmore Bell for their legal services. And now that has been paid for. You'll see that $28,000 on the list.
We pay that out of our own pocket?
They transferred money out of the project funds to
Okay,
cover it.
okay,
So
we'll
I-
talk about that.
I don't know
Why-
if we'll be short that at the end or not.
Well, the interest we probably won't.
We want to
Which
find out.
project is this one? in
This is the one down,
Beaver.
this is the one where you were down there.
Oh, the one for the,
I don't care what, I don't know what Billy's they call it.
We knew we were gonna have
The
to
new
pay
water system.
that, maybe not the exact amount, but it was supposed to be in
Contract.
engineer's budget, and,
Yeah.
in the contingency, so
Mhm,
it's supposed
yeah.
to be covered there.
This one's starting to smell.
yeah.
Most of the checks are just regular routine, operating expenses. On the second page, you'll see an item for $28,600, that's for a snow plow that it was budgeted last year, but we didn't get it purchased till this year. I don't know what else, there's 34,000 to Tusher Contracting, which they drew out of their retainage account. Was approved by the engineer and by CID.
Okay.
And the other, as I've said, the other expenses are just routine operating supplies and utilities and internet and telephone and whatever. And if you want to go back to the top, Brandon, there's the list of,
Right up here.
yeah, there's a list of accounts payables. Well, almost everything's been paid except these few bills. We got an invoice from Aspen Equity, and we had a question on whether we owed that or not.
I
Do you want to explain that?
I took care of it. They had plowed one of their own parking lots, and the way it got billed made it sound like it was the parking lot we were supposed to be doing, so they sent us a bill. But I took care of it. They're not billing us for it anymore.
So that's a moot item. We don't owe that. I didn't itemize the accounts receivable because we sent the statements out about around the 1st of January, and a lot of the owners have not paid. They have 30 days to pay, and so they haven't. There's been a lot that have paid, but there's been a lot that haven't paid. So I didn't itemize the ones that were past due or delinquent. Any questions on any of that?
What are the Chapman's that same guy that's been dragging for a long time, isn't he?
Well, luckily, we had leased his property, and when he paid his property taxes, we got some money.
He had to do it, yeah.
And I don't know exactly what that is, but we received 5,600 or something from him, so I cut his bill down quite a bit.
How about the rest of them?
Well, the one that I'm most
Stonewood?
concerned about is Stonewood.
I tried to find him, no avail. He was never there.
Yeah,
There were people in the parking lot, but he was never, always gone on it twice.
I don't get any response from him either.
Is that the whole HOA?
Yes,
So people are maybe paying their HOA fees because someone's not paying
The Stonewood
the cottages now.
is, the majority owner is Bensley Development,
Mhm.
and Nate Bensley is the principal, and he owns at least half of the units, and the other half are owned by private individuals. They pay their homeowner, their association dues, but Densley they pay to Densley Development, and Densley is not paying that.
Well, when I went there, I didn't tell him I was from Elk Meadows either. I said I was from Process Control Equipment Company. They won't let me in. So he's not here. So, that's quite a bit of money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bumping up to 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've made contact with him, like, on private stuff. I mean, I've had to make contacts.
I've tried to.
I mean, I have, so I'm saying I have been able to make contact with that person, if you need me to.
We don't have any connection to this email, huh?
So so if you need me to try to get a message to him, I can help you try to get contact with him.
How about
But
just give me his
that
phone
we're
number?
gonna turn off the water.
So it's like, I'll give you his contact
Pretty
information.
close to shutting his water off.
So I've got all of his info, and I have
Great.
been in touch with him.
Thank you.
Do we know the other owners?
No.
Usually when you see this, when they start letting the HOA go, he's probably behind on
Yeah.
much more. I mean, I've had that
Sure.
experience firsthand with my building in Vegas.
Well,
Same thing that happened.
anything that has to do with building right now is not in a good situation
Yeah.
usually.
Yep.
So how far behind do we let them get on these before we shut their water off?
Tomorrow?
They
We
shouldn't
don't
be
wanna
more
shut the
than,
water off in the middle of the winter, we wanna.
Come on, attention.
I don't know.
And if you wait till spring but give him notice now,
Yeah.
then he's had more than plenty
We've
notice.
already given him notice,
yeah, but just by email, but not,
But was it that we were gonna shut
If
it
you
off
shut
at
the
time and
water
date
off,
certain in the
it
spring?
No,
Right.
but we
Everything will be off, right?
Yeah, I think maybe a second email.
Heat will still be on, so as long as the heat's on, there should be fine, but I don't wanna be the guy that has to shut water off, but if there's no consequences for not paying, we'll stay.
Well, let's give him a final notice and tell him that the water's gonna be shut off and not tell him when.
Yeah, maybe April.
well, you have to give them a date.
Yeah.
When we, get ready to do it, we need to review our ordinance and follow it.
Should they give a notice or something?
We have a procedure in the ordinance that we have to follow, or some kind of notice.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials as Dave has presented them.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
One individual that is, severely delinquent is Trent Owen. He hasn't paid for several quarters,
I'm gonna do several.
like the whole year.
Really?
Well,
And so we need to send him the same notice.
Yeah, that's fair.
will you let him know that? I'm sure he's got a reason. Let's see. Assessment area DEQ,
Yes,
CFD.
I
Okay, Brandon, I'll let you help with this one. I'm not sure exactly where we're at on most of those things now.
On the projects,
Yeah,
so we're done for the winter. The tank, I need to go do another leak test on it. It's sealing itself up, but it's taking a little while because it works better in warm weather. It's not warm up there, so it's warmer. We got half of the stuff done at our pumper spring. The rest of it will finish in the springtime, get the generator, the other pump set up, everything finished at the pumper spring, and then when they can, they're gonna start working on the triple share spring. And then I think all they've got after that to really do is the Pinnacle Club area, and I think that's about it for their project, once you get those few major things done there.
when we were talking last, we were thinking of, getting Forest Service to see if we could get water from the.
Yes, absolutely, but we just gotta make sure there's, all the other stuff's done and have.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the Puffer Spring takes second fill if we can get that, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the Puffer Spring's pretty well done.
Not Pepper Spring, Triple Chair.
Yeah, I agree, I think Puffer, or the Forest River Spring is a more valuable asset than the Triple Chair
We
Spring.
ought to be investigating with them right now, start to ask them, can you figure out who we need to talk to on it?
On the Forest Service side?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can do that.
You have to do any kind of permitting or something.
Yeah, you need time.
Sometimes it takes a while with government.
well, the beauty of the spring up there is when it melts, it flows big time,
It flows way good. when it melts.
75 gallons a minute. And if we could spend our money improving that spring for year-round use by, what did Kevin say they do? He said it's shallow, but they dig down, they put,
So that's our belief, is that it was just, developed really shallow, so when the ground freezes, it's freezing up
Right.
the running water underground, and if we can go in and just put it a little bit deeper and get it set to where it's below the frost line, then it might run all winter long, and that would save us a lot.
a lot of money, yeah.
And
There
it
again,
doesn't cost anything to get the water once it's flowing, because there's no pumps. It's
we already own the water,
Yeah,
right?
Is the new tank filled yet?
it's full.
Yeah.
I just haven't been here
Months
for
and
the
months.
meeting, so I just wasn't sure.
Months.
Awesome.
It's gotta meet a certain specification before it can pass the state for certification for use. And it can only leak down a tenth of an inch over 24 hours, and it's barely doing more than that right now, but they won't certify it until it meets that tenth of an inch.
Oh, so the porosity of the concrete is still,
Yeah, so the concrete has Kydex or something in it that as the water flows through it, it seals the holes up.
yeah.
Because concrete cracks, that's just what it does.
Mhm.
And so that stuff's supposed to seal it up, and it works really good in warm weather, and it's not warm, so it's taking a little longer.
However, all the tests have been made and we can use the water.
The water's clean, yeah, we
That's
tested the
just-
water.
just for your information.
Oh, no, the
Yeah.
water's been, actually, like,
And, it was quite interesting because the day they backfilled the tank was like the last day before everything went kaput.
Mhm.
The very day they filled it the next day, it just couldn't have done so many things. Okay?
And then on the other project, they're down right where you start going into the trees, down in the holler there.
Are they past Liam's place?
Yes, Liam's hooked up to water, he's,
I knew he was, they went clear down to the trees where the little old cattle guard used to be.
yeah, so they put in a vault down there by the creek, and they have
Okay.
finished all the way to where the trees are, just below Liam's place. They'll have to run that line, and then a few lines that go off in different areas, and they'll be done. I'd say they're 50% done, and most of their big stuff is done.
What about that cabin that's something about where Jeremy used to be?
I don't know what he's doing. I've been keeping the road clear for him, so, because he said he's working on it. So I've been pushing the snow once per storm so he can get up in there and work on it, but I don't know exactly what progress he's got.
Is his water line in up to that?
I don't know if the water line is up all the way to there.
Right, Joey?
No, it's the one up where Jeremy's was up on top.
he did not get his water line, I don't think he got water in yet.
Yeah, I don't think he did either, that's what I'm curious about.
No, I don't think we did
What's his
water,
name?
because I'm gonna be probably helping him with water.
What's his name?
Matt?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm concerned.
Matt Clark.
So are you
Okay, I'm just
saying there
concerned about
are
there's a
some
finger out there that's
people
not
that are
gonna take
hooked
care of
up
it.
to water?
Yeah.
Well, no, he's, no, he'll be,
Just,
yeah, he's a pretty smart guy, and he'll be on top of stuff, so.
Okay. I'm just thinking of all the places we haven't
Now,
gone
when
to.
we change the designation, because when we're through, we won't have that big designation at all.
Right.
Mhm.
Everybody will have
That's right.
water available.
So Steve Mayer or Liam, I don't know what his last name is,
McCormick?
yeah, down there at the bottom of the holler there, they are hooked up to water now.
Is it two lots or just one, or do they own it jointly?
They own it jointly,
They own it
just
jointly.
one lot.
So when anybody hooks up, you gotta let me know.
Yeah, I thought we did, but I guess not. I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Stephen Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
The equipment's good, isn't it? I'll leave it this next.
Now, I have one question. Can I just choose to be paid hooked up, since the way I kinda work and use my lot? And just, because the way and just have that road fine plowed?
We've gotta do some serious work on that road I mean, it can be plowed, but it is super sketchy to plow that road. And the lower,
But it's always gonna be an issue.
well, I think if we went in and built it up a little bit, like towards the bottom and made it a little less steep, it might be a little more of a sharp turn down at the bottom, or we might have to swing it out, but we need to build that up a little bit, cause it's a pretty steep grade.
Yeah, it is.
But it's almost like, it's like one of
Well,
the
when
steepest.
you go to your conic spots where you're looking at, right?
Yeah, I go there almost every day.
I know, but that's like going off of a cliff, isn't it?
It's sketchy, it's almost, I mean, it's something that they shouldn't even have built that road on, it's a 16% grade road. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even know what,
Well, I think that part of the road was an afterthought from the guys that did it in the beginning.
I agree with that, but it's it's pretty bad, but,
What do you do when you go down there? Just go and then go, continue down, back on the bottom, make a loop?
You don't, sometimes you can go up it, but mostly down, but,
Yeah.
when it gets burned off, it's really gnarly.
Yeah.
I get stuck in that berm right at your place, and then if it doesn't get plowed, I mean, it's just really bad, but,
The one wherever the fork is, the mine and yours?
and, like I said, I'm willing to go ahead and you go ahead and bump me up, I'll pay the difference.
Well, I don't think that's a big issue here. The issue is the access, right, and the safety.
The access, I know, reading through some of our old stuff that I found in our filing cabinet, there was something in our agreements that the roads have to be a certain grade or less for us to maintain them. And I don't know if that one qualifies or not, I haven't really looked into it that much, but I do think that comes summer or spring, something should be done if we are gonna plow it for next winter. And I don't have a problem plowing that spot next to his driveway on that road, it's
That
just once
berm?
you come down off of there, that hill gets really sketchy in the loader.
We've both been on two wheels on that.
We have. Once it kicks sideways, your
Well,
loader's.
if you drive together, it'd be four on the ground.
Yeah,
Keep each other from tipping over.
Yeah.
so yeah, there's something we can probably work together to figure out, I don't know if it's gonna happen this year, we could probably make a push or two, but like doing it continually, it's a sketchy road to push down with the loader.
Just give him a call if you're in great need, I'd say.
But I think your biggest problem is right there next to Dee's driveway, where that big berm gets built up,
Yeah.
and we could probably push that off.
Yeah, 'cause with our skid, I think we can get down it. If it's safer with a skid, we'll just finish it, but if you make sure that you just don't burn me off right there.
Yeah,
We'll work, like I said, working together, we'll figure it out.
Well, we need to get serious about the roads after the projects are done.
Yeah.
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 Well, would you anticipate the rest of the project's gonna take full summer again?
yeah.
Okay, just wondering.
I don't know if they should take that long, but I think they're probably going to.
Well, hopefully, we can get an earlier start than last season
Yeah.
too, 'cause they didn't get any started till late July.
Yeah.
Kinda looks like we will, compared to last year.
You might know.
Yeah, I haven't been up there since it started. I mean, has the snowfall been about the same or less than last year?
Way less.
Much
Way
less, okay.
20% of what we had last year, I'd say, if that.
Yeah, we were buried by this time last year.
But, you know, if you realize what's happened in the situations we have like this, the actual water table, the snow from last year is gonna keep us really well for this year, and, maybe in the next year, you know, the water table. It was.
I have
Pardon?
snowfall data.
Do you?
Got the snowfall data, right, so today's what, 26th, so last year, this year we're at 123 inches on the 26th of January.
Yeah.
Last year we were at 220 inches, so 100 inches more last year.
Wow.
Yeah, that just at this date, that wasn't the rest.
That's
Yeah,
awful.
and that just kept going from there, we ended up with 391.
Wow. I'd have to say, not knowing the numbers, that's gotta be the all-time biggest snowstorm of my life. I mean, I remember one time we got 72 inches in 72 hours, Shane, you know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, but nothing like this.
Yeah, I think the year one, when I bought those,
Mm-hmm.
2010, 2011,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the data, but I had a different guy, and he had a laptop with
Okay? Anything else? Rich, you're up.
I've got a handful of things, but I'll try to make them all quick. Water, the meters.
Yes, I have installed 4 meters in different areas over the mountain. They're all working really good except for one. And the only issue we're having with that one is the size of the pipe it's hooked to, which is down at Stephen Liam's place that we just hooked up. And every other one is working flawlessly. I get the reports once a
Pipe
day.
too big or too small?
Pipe's too big. 1.25 inches is too big. I can go with 1 inch or smaller,
Mhm.
and his is 1.25 inches.
Are they all the same type of meter, or did you get different?
They're all the same type of meter.
Is it one of those that we were looking at?
It's one of those ones we
So
looked at.
does that company just not make 1.25 inches?
They said they're working on something, but once you jump up that size, I guess the programming's really hard or something, trying to get the proper calibrations.
How difficult would it be to put a sleeve in there that reduces it?
It wouldn't be that hard.
Maybe that's the thing.
Or do you just need to, throw a reduction in?
Throw a 1 inch piece in there, yeah, that would probably be the best way to go about it, but so far,
How many inches though?
I gotta have, the meter's 4 inches, I gotta have 6 inches past it, so we have to have 10-inch section, which isn't that big.
I can knock that out for you.
Yeah. So, other than that, it's been working flawlessly. They send me a report once a day on their website, and you can go through there. You can even set up the billing, and they can do the billing if you want, which I didn't do because we're just doing the trial.
I think ultimately we want to do it that way, right?
I think so.
Definitely, we don't got the time for manpower,
Well, we'll still have to send out bills
Sure.
for the road, but if we could get the water, that would
Yeah.
be a big headache.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're real easy to install. It's a 10-second ordeal to put them in. Then you just gotta calibrate them, get them set up, and then you're out of there.
What's the next
20
step?
seconds.
What's the next?
Brandon is
When we
10.
come up with a meeting on the mountain, we're gonna watch you install one.
Okay.
Yeah, come up Tuesday.
Yeah, you can all get in the crawl space underneath the roof place, and I'll show you how to make it.
You come like
It
that.
takes 10 seconds to get in the crawl space.
It takes me longer than that to get in and out of the crawl space than it does to put the meter on.
Home or small?
I'm a big guy.
Well, like Ray said, what's the next step? The next step is to choose, that we're gonna do that, which one we're gonna use.
So-
And the idea was to see if it was feasible and they would have the record recording and stuff that they have.
Yeah, so that's why I put them in the place I did. I got them down in the village, I got one down in that holler down at Steve's place, and the recording is working flawlessly for that, so it's, the signal is getting out.
That's important.
So there were 2 that we were looking at, as I recall.
Yeah.
This one here is very simple to put in. The other one, you actually had to have a plumber to inline it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and we're going with this one, path of least resistance, and it turns out it's working flawlessly.
It seems to be working great.
And I think it was a decent price point on that one too.
Yeah, the more you buy, the less it costs per unit, and I can get all that information back to you guys if you want, but we have had it.
So that's gonna be,
No-brainer.
that's gonna be a major thing for next summer.
And I believe
Yeah.
in November, they chose between the 2, and the one that he
Oh, I wasn't
suggested
here, I'm sorry.
is the one
So
that
this
they're
is the
going
one.
I
with.
forgot his last name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Second thing, hopefully it's quick.
Okay.
The grant for getting the roads paved.
So, we were talking to the one lady that you sent me on to, and I don't know if we all agreed on her pricing, and so I've been looking around at other grant writers, and I can't get most of them to give me the time of day.
There's an opportunity that we're throwing pennies and dollars.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for money there for road work.
Well, the biggest problem is, in your business, we have a budget. And
Well-
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
It is good. So if that's the research we found out, then that's probably the way we have to do it. But in my line of work, people don't buy anything unless they get 3 bids, but sometimes they can't get it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we shouldn't give up on her.
Yeah, I would like to.
How many thousand was it?
It was dependent on how we wanted to do it. If we retained her full-time, it was X amount. If we had her write X amount of pages, it was so much. And there was
Just like an attorney.
yeah, there was a whole big pay scale there that we could go through.
Is there a way that we can write our
I'm
own
a
grant?
happy story.
A lot of times, there is a way we could write our own grant, but it is,
If you haven't written a grant before,
No,
it's not the easiest thing. to
especially for
do.
something this magnitude.
Yeah,
A lot of
You
times
know
the
that
grant though
this
pays for
landed
the
a huge
person,
one.
so the grant that you get actually pays for her.
She said that too.
She said that it might be able to pay for part of it, but she doubts that it would be able to pay for the whole thing because of the types of grants that they are. So we would still be quite a bit out of pocket on paying for her, but if she's our only option
Well, you
and
know, and the
more
other thing is, if she wants the business, maybe we should negotiate.
and she
That's
might
what
be
people
willing to
do.
for that.
And my fear is just the window that this opportunity is.
Yeah, sure.
You know, come November, all the
Well,
cards get thrown in the air.
I'm glad you brought it up, because if it wasn't just gone by the wayside, I wouldn't think about it, because she's not working, and we told him it was too much money, you know, pretty much, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's research her, and let's both get on the phone with her.
Yeah, we can get on the phone with her and
So
talk to her.
I can figure out what we're doing too, and then we can talk to our guys and see what we can run.
Okay.
I mean,
Like, how much, like, what do we, I'm just curious,
Can I ask you a
what's the
question?
talking?
Sure.
Grant.
Go ahead, Shane.
Do we know, the source of the grant money, and we just need someone to help in the application? Or are we looking for some gateway to multiple grants, and someone who's, gonna write them? And the reason I ask is, I managed the Beaver County Travel Council, or co-managed, I guess, for like 7 or 8 years, the grant application we did with the Utah Office of Tourism. So and just my background as well, I'd be happy to write a grant, at no charge, for something as significant as that. But I have no experience in ability to kind of just try to track down where we would get grants. So if I could be paired with someone who would do the research on that, I'm quite confident that we could write a good.
The lady we found has given us the grant information.
Yeah, the grant's there, you just have to apply for it, the way I understand it.
That's how I understood it too from,
So do you have that information in the email, Brandon?
Yes.
Could you send that to Shane? And then-
Now,
Well,
Shane, have you been successful with your grants writing with the county?
Yeah, we get it every year.
Okay.
What you get as a percentage, what you ask for is somewhat dependent on your grant itself, and somewhat dependent on what everyone else asks for, but we usually get something like 75 to 85%.
but at that point, it does become negotiable.
What's
Right?
that?
Once you have that nailed down, it does become somewhat more negotiable.
Yeah, I think each one's a little bit different. With the Utah Office of Tourism, they have a fixed amount that all applicants, are trying to get. And so it depends on how many people apply,
Sure.
against that amount. So I don't know how many other.
Where's this
work,
grant,
but-
where's this grant coming from that we're looking at?
so there's 2 or 3 of them is the problem. One's from like Utah State Department of Transportation, one is a federal grant, and another one is like a state and federal
Combination?
combination for rural development. So,
And we qualify, I mean, we could read it,
for almost all of them, yeah.
for golden.
Well, while we've got the governor, and we ought to do the joint.
Yeah,
Federal and state.
Well, like the lady was saying, if she was to do it, she wanted to apply for all of the grants because she thinks we have a high percentage chance of getting all of them.
Well, I can't remember the
For
dollar
different
amount,
things.
she was talking about. Roughly, she gave us an estimate of some sort, I remember that.
It was just a pay scale, it was,
Yeah.
and it was in the couple tens of thousands
Yeah.
for her to
We're
retain.
talking 50,000, 70,000, 80,000?
I would say 30 to 40 if we retain her full-time, and she can do it cheaper, she just writes it and then leaves us alone at that point.
To manage it.
Right, so she was offering to manage the grant for where it gets spent, kind of like Summer.
Included in the 40,000?
Do what?
In the 40,000, she's.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we need to look at this, Shane, but I think you're right, we need to,
Beaver County used to pay somebody back, when I first got here, they would pay that person 5,000 to do the grant. And I think he was successful in getting it. So I don't know what the market is, but that seems, and again, if it's just a matter of, we have enough, skills across the board and with, CO and others that, we may be able to do it ourselves.
I think Brandon should send you, Shane the information, and Shane, you look at it, see what you think.
It sounds like the information on
I
the
think we all
grant
need
that
to
we
look
want to
at
go
it.
for.
Well, all of us,
We
yeah.
have that already,
Yeah,
right?
we have the information for the
It's
grant.
about right now.
we, you know, we all need to get access to that and get serious if it's something that's gonna go away.
Yep, I'll get it.
Probably very soon.
I think what I've found through, really all, like, a lot of the stuff that you spearheaded, it seems like every time we ask for something, we get it. So I think we should just keep asking.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There is a lot of work on the back end though to follow through with all this
Yeah.
documents, and I mean, these are not easy to manage once you get the grant as well, so, especially if you get federal, it's a lot more paperwork.
Yeah.
The
But,
other thing you find is matching, too, a lot of times they want you to match, and you have
Yeah.
to track all your matching, like, we spend a lot of hours in here, I don't personally do it, but Ginger spends a lot of hours in here managing the grants and tracking and all this stuff, and so you might could even do something where Shane was heading it up, and then you used her for parts of it for a reasonable amount of money if you had to, but yeah, I think you did it.
If we can add administration into that too, right? So it pays for itself.
yes,
You probably can, yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
just have to be organized, it's not hard if you
Yeah.
just, at every step. You don't wait until you usually have the grant application, and then you get approved, then you have a final report, you get the second half of the month. I guess they're all probably different, but you just have to keep track of everything you spend, and you use Google Drive. I'm extremely organized, so that's easy for me to do.
not like Shane takes
Okay.
it on, but.
Well, our advantage right now with this is our water project. Our
Uh-huh.
water project
Yeah.
and the way that we've cleaned our roads up just catapult us right into,
Qualification.
exactly.
Yeah, one of the qualifications is we have to show that we are actively improving the area that we're trying to.
Oh, we are.
Right, so the water projects are a big part of that.
The one thing I would note, it's somewhat separate, I mean, it's related, but separate issue itself, is if you were gonna if you're gonna pave the road in the village, for example, you actually, I think, have to start with, I think you take the whole thing down and you replace the old water pipes. I mean, you've got pipes that are 3 feet, you got all, the pipes are so bad that you're gonna end up tearing up the road anyway, how many times a year to fix it. So
Well, that's
I
one
think in
thing.
the village, it's a great idea, but it's a bigger undertaking, than just paving, I think.
Well, it comes
I
down
wouldn't
to,
do it myself with my money unless you were gonna go down there. Like when you see any city redo that's what they do, they take the whole thing down, replace all the water pipes, all the drainage, and then fill it up again.
not Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, all these points we need to look at, and Shane, if we can, get this put together and get with you and see what we can do from this end, it would probably help us all,
But it might include
Yeah.
the cost of replacing
That's
those
what I'm
pipes, you know?
yeah, we need to go and find out what those improvements are and what we can get the grant for, because if they're spending money like that for infrastructure, why wouldn't it?
Right.
And especially because we've done most of it ourselves.
Right.
The other thing we'll need to figure out before we pave, and we've had the situation twice now, is, where we got the Mount Holly condo, parking lot stretch at the outstate pavement, is if the service district is responsible for asphalt patch, repair every time a pipe breaks, that's a huge problem. And that needs to change the due structure. I mean, there's just a lot that comes with that. Or there needs to just be like a common assessment, to everybody, all the, the dues payers, whenever there is a problem. But I don't have the answer, I'm not
Well-
supporting one side or another, but that needs to be figured out.
Well, in
There will be
retrospect,
costs and everything.
in retrospect to the Mount Holly parking lot, it was because the service district tore it up 25 years ago and didn't fix it. That was not what happened there.
I think what he's saying is just like anytime we have to repair.
Yeah,
a
I
line, we
know.
tear
That's
the
why I
road
said
up.
to you, pay the roads when you're doing it leaks.
We tear the road up and
That's
fix
right.
water line and fix it.
But,
Is it a matter of rebudgeting things, so we have a budget for repairs?
I think once you're not buying so much road base and spending so much time on the grader and
Yes, we
everything.
do.
Okay.
rather than saying that if we can get away from doing road base and all the time on the grader and all that stuff, it's gotta be a savings. And plowing's gotta be a,
Plowing should be a little easier on pavement, it's easier on other stuff.
So you've rebudgeted money for those repairs as they come up? It seems like a great opportunity.
sure. Yeah, it's a cluster down there.
But the flip side of that coin is look at the value it's gonna add.
Sure.
I mean, all of us are property owners, you know,
Wow.
it puts us in a whole different light.
Well, let's get the information together, Shane, and if you'll help, we'll see if we can divert some of this effort to something that we do ourselves.
So not,
Yeah, I
not
think
count,
if Rich or somebody takes the lead in, you know, just finding the grant, if you guys can feed me the research, then I can evaluate it and talk about how to, you know, how to tackle it.
We'll just have to make Rich an honorary new member of the.
Rich should be an honorary member, he's the one that found all this grant stuff for me.
Yeah, we already have it. Everything is great. It's got
I've got it all.
every piece of documentation that I've been handed.
I'll quit, you can come. Don't shake.
I got other battles I'm fighting.
Yeah, you too.
But these are the two short things that I wanted to
Yeah,
talk about.
that's great.
The bigger thing is 2 years ago, we had Rocky Mountain bring a whole bunch of power up the hill.
Yes.
We're putting up a whole bunch more water. Where do you guys, is there a master plan that you guys have even talked about as far as where do we want to see the mountain go? Are we looking to build some infrastructure? I talked to LB about putting a gas station in. He said it'd take 20 years to make $1. So, that did sound real good. You know, a market.
The only master plan I know is the one with the engineering company.
And
That's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about.
Understand.
I'm talking about, do we want to control growth? Do we want to expand growth?
Well, I think we need to fix the things that are the worst first. That's part of that program, but when you say where are you going, you know, if we put the roads in, and we have the water in, what do we do next? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm
what's
looking
the-
beyond where we're sitting right now. I'd like to know that, hey, you know, we've got a plan and let somebody else come and say your plan stinks and we redo it.
Let's put windmills on all the bridges and get rid of the power company.
Solar.
That's good.
But,
Yeah.
that's my thought is there going to be a master plan? You know, what do we think we're doing? Because everybody's just building stuff, and it's great.
We have a master plan, and they tried to analyze what they think the growth is going to be and all of that. And if it's good, if it's looking like it's different than what's in the plan, then we need to reevaluate it. But
Where can I see that master plan so I can
I
understand?
think we've had it online, people have been looking at it for a long time.
I
Where?
told Rich the same thing, but it says it's a water master plan. Does it just relate to water, or is it for growth and everything? That's what
Yeah, the water master plan factors in the growth because they have to size the pipes for future growth.
Right, so what are we planning in these things we're growing?
He's talking more like,
like a master plan.
yeah.
Are we someday gonna have the traffic signal? I mean,
No.
simple stuff.
What?
You
I'm
don't
for a
know.
lot of things, but I don't want that thing.
That's down the road.
I'll be dead.
Well, I probably will be too, but I'd like to know my grandkids will say, hey, my grandfather made
My grandpa
it.
got this life.
That's what you're asking, is if we're gonna end up like, Bryan Head or Park City.
Exactly. I mean, do we want to plan for that now? Or, because somebody may come in, and I know, you know, Shane has a vested interest in this, Bill has a vested interest in this. I, you know, kind of like to know, so if I'm going to get behind something, I can start looking for things and pushing things.
Shane, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's a good question, but it's not directed at, like, I mean, the service district is a road and water authority. They're not a landowner, they don't,
Well,
you
and
know, so, you know, they have this, whatever the, you know, whatever their scope of,
Jurisdiction.
it is. They don't, they're not the ones that say on this piece of land, here's what, you know, should happen. So, I mean, to the extent there's a master plan, it's the master plan of, you know, the various owners of undeveloped property at Eagle Point. And then that, you know, those people have the relationship with the Road and Water Authority and the county and all the different, you know, players in that process. But I don't know if the service district has a master plan in the sense that they don't own land.
some aspects of it. So is it more of a county issue?
Yeah,
So I go sit in the county commission and.
there is a master plan.
How
Has been.
how
I
do
think it
I?
was done by Sunrise? No,
Jones in the middle?
one of them just barely did it.
Is there a chance I could look at it just so I
Yeah,
can have an idea of?
Should we all look at it?
sure, it's public information.
Okay,
Yeah.
tell us where to find it.
Yeah.
Jen, actually, Jen Wakeman probably has that plan for us downstairs.
Okay.
Does it include that area up there?
Well, it's the county master plan, so I would say yes.
Because I could see that as the next thing that, you know, once we finish all these projects, people are gonna say, well, now what? It'd be good to
It is the county.
have a direction.
And if they haven't, it is the whole county, and that is part of the county. If they haven't addressed it in detail up there on the mountain, this is the time to,
We ready for annexation?
this is the time. Well, we're already.
I told you I'm leaving. But I'm gonna retire for 30 years too.
The Brian head of the town, because they have enough people to be a
Right.
town, we need like 100 residents before you think about forming a town.
But
I mean-
I think it's still something that we should look at because we're the roads department right now. We're in charge of the roads.
Roads and water.
Let's not shy away from this at all. But I agree with you, past that, what do we do and where do we go to get it done?
Yeah.
That's more or less my point.
Yeah, I agree with Shane.
Because otherwise you guys are gonna sit here up there.
On the master plan,
and
but
not
on
have
what we're
much to
doing on
talk
the
about.
roads.
Oh, no, I agree.
What's that, Rich?
Otherwise you guys are gonna sit here every month and not have much to talk about.
Oh, no, they're always right.
I've been here 22 years, pal, it hasn't one time. But you know what, you just keep showing up, we've got dialogue. Yeah, I think it's great, thanks for being active on this stuff.
You know,
That's what we can do.
you're not the only ones I pick at, I'm picking at George too. So, George Humphreys. You know, they took over the fire department, and the first thing I noticed is, I was riding up last week, up the lift, and with the ski patrolman, and he said, you know, and I go, oh yeah, I'm a volunteer fireman. He goes, we got a firehouse up here? Yeah, it's the green building down there, and I talked to George about putting signage on our firehouse on the mountain.
Sure.
So people know it's there. The other thing, it'd be nice if we had a flagpole.
Sure.
So, George says he'll do it, but like I say, I don't make one stop, I got a lot of stop signs.
We got some leverage, he's creating a problem for us when there's 2 inches of snow, he wants the driveway plowed at the fire station. We don't do that. We'll talk to him about snow plowing versus getting a flag and some signs and that sort of stuff. We can't do that for safety reasons, but it would sure be nice. Yeah, we understand.
But I guess the last thing is a question for Leo. In November, you said you wanted to keep the board intact, because the election was coming up, until the completion of the water project. Is there something we need to worry about?
With regard to?
No, we did that 2 years before. We just said we wanted to keep the board intact until we could get through these projects. It's just that everybody knows everything about it, and we want to go bring new people on the board and try and bring them up to speed. It was just a suggestion.
Okay.
Get somebody up.
Well, back then,
We've already gone through.
No, we've already appointed the board, everybody's been appointed.
It was,
You passed the resolution in December,
Oh.
appointing the board.
was it Paul and?
He said yes.
yeah, all agreed, and I was just curious why, you know, it made me worry that, is there something we don't know?
No, I just thought, that was just a sort of a philosophy. If everybody here's been working on these projects, we should let them all stay on the board and see them through. It's not really a legal requirement or anything like that, it's a common sense kind of thought. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
No.
So the people that came up was Shane and Paul and, I don't know, maybe it was
Okay.
No, I was looking at it.
Kay and Beaver 2 years ago, I guess probably way.
Were there any other
We can't do that with Waco, they won't let us
We didn't
release our
have-
county commissioners.
So you probably have to present those to the county, though, we have to approve
You
it.
did.
We did?
You did.
I don't remember that.
It was done in December.
In November, they made a motion to recommend the same board members, and then you adopted that in
Do you
December.
want to reintroduce yourself, Blake?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I guess that's all I got this month.
Well, that's good, that's a lot. That's what, you stirred the pot well. But it needs to be.
It needs to be done sometime.
Especially on that
That
subject,
was good.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who's interested in being on this board could make application with the county commission, and when the positions expire, then the county commission could consider those applications on file.
I think I get to talk just as much sitting on this side as that side.
Yeah. Sweet chicken?
Are you wanting to?
Good, thank you.
You know, there's horse racing,
What?
horse racing, win, place, and show. Show is the most important part. You do show.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, Ken.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Bryce?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey.
So should make this quick, just regarding the plowing at, Wooded Ridge Farms. I'd like to propose, a reduction in what we pay in our fees there. And also, I need to ask that you guys do a little bit less work there too. We've been working with Brandon, and what I just need Brandon to pretty much do is just come in and do a quick cleanup pass, or not even a cleanup pass, just come in and just do a quick pass to, behind all the cars, and that's pretty much it. And then we'll take over from there. We'll come in and do the rest of the work after that. A lot of with the big loader, you can't get real tight to the curb, and there's a lot of built up snow that gets left there. And it just, Brandon can attest to that, we just can't do a real good job with the equipment you guys have, and, there's not, for what we pay for the 20 units as a whole, for what we get out of it, it's just not a fair thing, and that's what I'm proposing on that. We pay $8,000 a year. I'd like to see if we can pay half of that to you guys, and, I think that'd be a pretty fair compromise, and like I said, it's, the reduction of work that you guys would do is pretty minimal for what you guys would do. You guys would be in there about 10 minutes, quick in and out, and then like I said, we'll take over the rest of it.
Leo and I have been discussing this last couple of days, Leo.
Yeah, we're not set up for that. We can't have every little group come in and try and analyze what we're providing and then negotiate with us for what they're gonna pay. Our fees are set up basically to collect enough money to basically, provide the purchase money and the maintenance of our equipment and pay our 2 employees. So we can't go negotiate with every little group and say, well, here's what we're doing for you, and here's an analysis, because our analysis is just on getting enough money, and so everyone's paying equally the same amount, and it goes in, and then we have our budget and provide for those things, so we can't start negotiating with one little group and then change it for them.
And we're a government entity.
We have it all set up just to pay our basic expenses, and everyone pays the same. If we started having everyone paying a different
It sets a
amount,
precedent
it would just be unworkable, totally unworkable.
Well, if that's
What,
the case.
one thing, so we went to the part where the cabin owners had to drive around, plow around driveways, maybe we need to have the HOA plow their own parking lot.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll just plow my own 100% then. I just want out that 100%.
We don't let anyone out.
But Aspen Crest is able to plow their own 100%.
See, the money that we
roads
We
and water.
provide all the roads, and.
But I'm a
everyone
private
uses-
parking lot, I'm a
everyone
private
uses-
parking lot attached to the 153. We're a 100% private parking lot.
Right, the private parking lots that we do is just a service that we provide.
But I don't need your service then, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's fine.
Well, we're not gonna
These
change
are
the
not gonna
fees.
change.
I think what
We're just
Leo
not
was
gonna pay them anymore, is what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're just not gonna pay that part of the service. We don't need your service, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's
No,
okay.
you have to pay,
You have to
everyone
pay.
has to pay, and it's provided for all the roads that everyone uses. You
But
say-
show me
you say
where,
People don't use any of the
but what I'm
other
trying to say
roads?
is, but show me where, that you guys are the exclusive remedy, where we are required to pay you to plow that. There's nothing there's nothing.
Whether we plow it or not is, can be worked out.
But no, but there's nothing where we're required to pay you to plow that parking lot.
Well, that doesn't matter, but you're required to pay your fees.
And they're not
Fees
changing.
are set uniformly.
Show me where we're required to pay for them road maintenance.
I think what Leo was trying to get at is the fees are for everything, and the fact that we do the parking lots, because they're private, is more of a favor.
It's no
To
different,
the
it's
owner.
why you're doing my driveway right now, is because they can't do my driveway, it's a private property. Your parking lot is private property, it's not part of the road system,
Right,
is that right?
But your fees didn't go down.
The road.
Well, my fees didn't go down when I hired you to do my driveway.
Bryce, here's a way to look at it. I see what you're saying. You're saying you're off of 153, directly off of 153, it's all private property, so therefore, there's no need to pay if we, I understand.
But we get
hang on,
nothing.
hang on. And I'll let you talk in a minute. Somebody brought up the issue of does any of your owners use any other part of the roads up here on the mountain? Think about this, to the extent that any of those homeowners, unit owners, they rent, whatever, if they use the upper Meadows Road, for example, that's not Highway 153, that's taken care of by EMSSD. And that's what those fees,
I understand that.
that's what those fees
I understand
take
that.
care
Okay.
of for everybody. That's the reason why they have to be assessed to all of the landowners on the mountain. So, I mean, if you think about it that
So
way.
I get where your point is coming from.
All right,
So-
thank you.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
Was there anything else?
Nope, no, that makes perfect sense there.
All right, thank you, Bryce.
So now that resolves it then, so we're done.
All right.
So that makes perfect sense how that connection is, so. We'll just continue doing that how it is, and that makes perfect sense, done deal.
Okay,
Yep.
still want our guys to do their part?
Yeah, we're just gonna continue, we're just gonna keep working together, they'll come in how we've just been doing it.
Okay.
We'll come in, we'll keep working together, just how we've been doing it.
Okay.
It's been going great. By the way, these guys have been doing a great job this year, it's been looking really good, the way they've been teaming up, it's been fantastic.
I don't know how they could not be as good as they are if it hadn't been for the crappy year we had last year. They had no choice but to gel.
But I just wanna say, they've been doing a good job,
Yeah,
and it's been great, so.
great, thank you for that. And we'll,
Thank you, Bryce.
get your burn, for now, too. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Okay, overview of operations.
Bill came back.
What?
He did a better job than I did on that one.
I'm glad you know my first name anyway.
Well,
I'll just show up twice a month here for the next.
I took you out of my favorites on the.
Oh, you did?
You did. Contact list.
Man, I worked so hard to get in there too. Just
So,
kidding.
okay, overview.
Okay, so the water system, we talked about a lot of that just a minute ago. The rest of it is running pretty flawlessly right now, tanks are full. Everything seems to be working pretty good. I don't wanna say anything's gonna change from there. The flow measurements, we're getting 47 gallons a minute out of the puffer spring, and I'm not 100% sure if the Forest Service spring is still flowing or not, because the meter quit working.
That was that meter we needed to change, wasn't it?
Yep, and it's it's in, and I can't tell if there's water flowing through it or not. The meter is kind of seized up, and I'm not gonna dig up the ski room until
Yeah.
Yeah, not working
You
out.
can't.
yeah. And then update on roads, talked about that a little bit too. Our plowing is a lot better this year than it was last year due to less snow and having a second piece of equipment that pushes snow. But everything else seems to be pretty good on the roads, other than obvious maintenance we're gonna need to do when these projects are completed. And then equipment status, all of our equipment seems to be running pretty good. Everything's good on that end too.
This is time for a celebration lunch.
Well, now, just a second, before we get through this, we gotta understand that that new loader we have is working well because it has a lot of fertilizer involved with it.
Yes, it has been fertilized.
It came from a
Quite
farm.
fertilized.
They changed the wiper motor the other day, the big, okay.
Pulling cow crap out of every crevice of that thing for the next 5 years.
But it's working well.
Yes, it seems to be working well. The only thing on the equipment is I need a windshield for the work truck.
I'm sorry, when you went through right now, I have one question about water.
Yeah.
You might have said there was a connection with that, so the new water tank, what's the status of that?
I need to do another leak down test on it, but it's barely leaking past what the state will certify. So I need to go.
Just keep waiting, that same process as usual, you wait until the next one, the concrete keeps curing, is that what's going on?
Yeah, the longer you wait, the concrete cures even more.
And it's barely over the,
The 110.
Okay.
Yeah, so once I verify that it's passing the leak test, then we have to bring the engineers and the state inspector up to verify, so I have to make sure it's happening a little bit better, so that there's no discrepancies there.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's curing, but it's just taking longer because of the temperature.
1/10 is 3/32, something like that?
1/10 of an inch over 24 hours, it's 130 gallons in 24 hours.
it's a
is what we're doing.
250,000 gallon tank.
And it's the same for a 1,000,000 gallon tank, 1/10 of an inch.
If they knew what we've been leaking.
That's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Should the old thing pass that test?
You know,
It should pass soon.
it's interesting, I stopped up at the shop yesterday and I went way in to see these guys and they're waiting for it to snow more so they could plow again if they needed to, you know, clean up the skiers or all that sort of thing. And I asked him, I said, so how's things going? He said, compared to what? I said, last year, they didn't even answer me. What do you think? So, yeah, and honestly, I think the best thing we did was invested in that money that we put into finding leaks.
Yes.
Because we took out, I mean, when you plugged all the leaks, the tank filled up in what?
Like 2 days.
2 days.
With both springs running.
With both springs running, but still, it's just made a huge difference.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And there's still small systemic leaks, but it's so minute right now that it's not causing any sort of issue in our system. Granted, we're gonna look into that.
I still think, this is just hit me, I still think we have to have the people that have old condos get different toilets.
I think that's something you guys can discuss. It'll help on water usage for sure.
Yeah,
We
but-
don't need to figure out the leaks.
Yeah, maybe not, if they wanna use it and pay for it, then it's not an issue for us.
Once they get their meters,
Yeah.
they'll go.
Yeah, the meter, yeah. Okay.
I think the metering will convince a lot of people to do that.
Now, who's gonna install the meters?
I'll install, I would say 99% of them. There's probably, like in, Mount Holly condos, those ones, we're gonna have to go cut an access panel and do that, and I think it'd be better off to have a contractor do it, so they're,
Yeah, especially when that one section's on a slab.
right, so that stuff like that is probably gonna have to be done by a plumber or contractor, but everything else, as long as the water line is accessible anywhere, I can do it.
I think about that place, Stonewood, I think that's on a slab too, isn't it?
No, I think it has a crawl space,
Oh, good.
so I think I can put all those on.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Do you wanna buy a leak detector?
Do what?
Do you wanna buy a leak detector?
You selling that one?
I think so.
At this current minute, probably not, but yes, I will consider it on my end, obviously, it's their decision.
What does it cost?
It's not, actually, it's not mine, a friend of mine loaned it to me, and I.
Oh, yeah, I remember
gave
you
it to
doing that.
Brandon, but he's going out of business,
Okay.
so, yeah, you might be able to get it for pennies on the dollar, I don't know.
I would like to go for the helium system, if we were to spend money on a leak detection thing, because you can section off a section and then charge the system with helium, and you can go find it with the sniffer. They're a little bit more money, for sure, but they're also a lot more ease of use when it comes to finding the leaks. That thing works awesome, but it is, like when the wind's blowing, you can't hear the water underground with it and all that. It does work good, but it's hard to use.
Well, hard to use as opposed to the cost might be worth it.
It might be, but like I said, right at this current moment, we're not struggling with something.
Yeah.
So I wanna take our time and do our research.
Well, I just wanna make sure that you do the research and, you know, because you're not spending your own money, you're doing it.
Right.
Okay.
It was just an opportunity.
Sure.
You know, once again, it may not be there for much longer.
Okay,
Well, Ron's not here to do the fire department.
no, Ron's not here, and I don't know what's going on with this.
You're a
We need
volunteer
a flagpole and a
What's that?
sign.
What's going on, Rich? Come on back up there.
There's snow.
I don't want us to get in trouble.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, water rights, Leo, no change?
I'm meeting with, Rocky Ford, the board and shareholders meeting, probably, I think it's February 8th, so hopefully I can get some progress going on that.
Okay. Hope so too.
Did you say on February 8th, is that what you
Yeah,
said?
February 8th.
With Rock-
February 8th.
Okay.
Eagle Point, what's going on?
I don't have any specific update. We're in operation and, things are going fine.
Good.
How's the little kid that fell?
Rich just said, how's the little kid that fell?
He's in some airplane, he's fine.
Really?
Something's been disturbed.
Wow. Have an accident up there?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Huh. Okay. Shane, if that's all, thank you. General discussion? Anything needs to be brought before the board?
Old business, I just started putting old business on our deed, so if there's something from the prior meetings we wanna talk about, we
Sure.
can bring it back up.
Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
Is that even
Ron's-
to be second?
Taking Ron's,
Yeah.
I gotta make myself important around
Actually,
here.
it's actually the prerogative of the chair, he can adjourn whenever he wants.
No.
Wait, wait, no, that's
It's Phil Torgerson. Would you put down there on the book, Phil Torgerson?
No, don't put that down.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned, huh, Chair?
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, well, yeah.
Thanks, Shane.